And I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny little reference. But I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Scream and Scream 2 reference Halloween specifically, and they play Halloween in Scream, but now in Halloween H20, they're playing Scream 2. So I'm like, oh, so the Scream movies are like the movies in the Halloween universe. But I'm like, but in the Scream universe, Halloween is their movies. And I'm like, oh, my head exploded because I couldn't rectify that. It doesn't make any sense.
Hello, and thank you for checking out the video. I just want to let you know that I not only create content on my YouTube channel, Class in the Glass, but I'm also on Twitch, where I review movies, cartoons, and TV shows live, while also playing single-player games and multiplayer games. I also have a Patreon where subscribers have access to hundreds of video and audio commentaries for films and cartoons, as well as podcasts and videocasts. In the meantime, thank you again for watching. Enjoy the video.
We're going to be jumping into my review, my spoiler review for Halloween H20 now, chat. I got a lot to say about this movie. I have a lot to say about this film. You know, I've been watching a lot of Halloween films this particular week. You know, just watched Halloween 2 not too long ago, reviewed that. Didn't particularly care for it, chat. I don't think it set up the franchise for much success. You know, that also birthed the Thorn trilogy, which very mixed bag. Mixed bag to horrible, in my opinion. But hey, yeah, I think they realized that at a period of time after, you know, the dismal critical and commercial reception of Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. And all right, we got to restructure this. And they went ahead and basically capitalized on the success of something like Scream, chat. So that's the thing with this movie. You know, Halloween H20, it is not connected to Halloween 4, 5, or 6. It is a sequel set 20 years later after the events of Halloween and Halloween 2. And looking at, after, you know, I hadn't seen this movie in a while. And, you know, rewatching, I was like, oh, wow, there's a lot of Scream DNA in this film, which, I mean, makes sense. This movie came out 2 years after Scream was released, chat. Wes Craven's Scream, also written by Kevin Williamson. And, you know, that really did repopularize, you know, slashers again. And it made sense. They're like, hey, well, we have a fucking slasher series, Halloween. Let's do the same thing. Matter of fact, Kevin Williamson, this movie went through a very interesting production, various versions and drafts. Kevin Williamson, who is the writer of many of the Scream films, the best Scream films, in my opinion, you know, 1, 2, and 4, he did a draft of Halloween H20. He's not credited as the screenwriter because I think they only took some elements of his original screenplay, but he is credited with the story along with someone else. I think Robert Zappia. But I do feel like that they did a lot of things right with this movie. They completely dropped everything to do with the cult stuff, the Cult of Thorn. That's gone. You know, everything with, you know, Michael's niece. All the Celtic, you know, mysticism and magic. I mean, it doesn't explain how he survived his horrific burns at the end of Halloween. They don't even fucking bring it up. No, they talk about that you saw him burn to death, but they're like, I don't know if I really did see him burn. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? And so, you know, they're like, all right, we know how to get around that. And so it's just like, hey, let's bring it up and say, like, we don't know, but let's just continue on. So it's definitely a slimmed down, meaner version of Michael than I think we were used to with the Thorn trilogy. And I appreciate for that. Not that it doesn't have some flaws. It definitely has some flaws, chat. But overall, this is a bit of a return to form for the series, especially after Curse of Michael Myers and Halloween 5, in my honest opinion. But, you know, I like this movie. I hadn't seen it in quite some time, and, you know, rewatching it, kind of had a renewed appreciation for it. And I was like, oh, it does some good stuff. Jamie Lee Curtis, I think, delivers a great performance. He has some other people that do a great job. Oh, another fun fact about the movie. John Carpenter was originally approached to direct it, but he said, I will direct the movie, but you need to give me $10 million goddamn dollars. And they went, fuck no. And I don't even know if I would have wanted John Carpenter to direct this. By the time we got to the 90s, John Carpenter's skills as a director were kind of waning, in my opinion. You know, doing stuff like Ghost of Mars and, you know, Escape from L.A. Not the best, in my opinion. Not the best. But still, I still feel like a very solid entry in this franchise. I don't think it's as good as, like, the original Halloween or maybe something like Halloween 2018. But definitely in the top 5. You know, it might even be, you know, 3rd or 4th for me personally. But that's kind of just my general thoughts on the movie, chat, before we get into the nitty-gritty details. But I want to ask you guys, How many of you have seen Halloween H20, Halloween 20 years later, Halloween WADA? And what are your thoughts on it, chat? I'm very curious. Very curious. Bishop's Gore looks and feels like a Scream movie, too. Makes sense, give its under Dimension. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is Dimension, which is the same company that was putting out the Scream films. Good point. Good point. Oh, okay, well, does it work in the film? Yep, that's what I said. Originally planning on tying it into... Wait, excuse me. They were originally planning on tying into the other Halloween films. Oh, okay. Jamie Lee Curtis was hella hot. Jamie Lee Curtis is a beautiful woman. She looks great in here. And she wants to fuck everything in sight. Let's see. I've seen bits and pieces of this. Baby GGG Cristando. Never seen Lisa. It was okay. It was okay. I also got this on VHS. What's the thing? It got mixed reviews critically, but commercially it did very well. You know, especially after the box office disappointment that was The Curse of Michael Myers, and even some of the other Halloween movies. But yeah, this was made for I think under $20 million, made $75 million worldwide. So it was a success, Jay. It was a success. John Elvin, I have not. Miko only seen the original Halloween in 2018. Zion, I have, and I see LL Cool J inspired Chris to start his Sonic erotica read. Like, that's right, goddamn. Yeah, he's throughout the entire movie, LL Cool J, who plays the security guard of the prep school, of the private prep school that Laurie is a headmistress at. He is trying to be a screenwriter, which I'm like, oh, okay, I can see Kevin Williamson's DNA all over this. But he's like trying to write an erotic horror thriller. He's not very good at it. He needs his girlfriend's help with the female characters. See, all he does in the movie in his script is just sexualize them constantly. Oh. Let's see. Look, boss, I'm glad they didn't end up making a sequel to 4 and 6 because it would have really made Laura look like an asshole for egging her death and leaving her. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. I've seen it, and it's probably up there among the better of the franchises for me, but I don't love this movie, Suspicious. I can see that. LL Cool J, the only black guy who survives every... Oh, but does he survive? Yeah, he does. I was like, my God! I thought that was great. That was cool. Again, I think that was Kevin Williamson going in there and going like, we're going to circumvent these tropes. We're going to comment on these tropes, much like in the way he did with Scream. Same thing for, Halloween, which I appreciate, chat. This movie's a little smarter. I mean, it's got some dumb shit in it, believe me, but it's more because of certain things that the franchise did in the past. But it's a little smarter than the last few Halloween films that had come out before this one. But yeah, okay, we got a mixed bag here, chat. People who have seen it, people who have not seen it, people that liked the movie thought it was okay. Not anyone I've seen like outright hates it. I feel like that's for a lot of people. I don't think anyone outright hates this movie. It's got a lot of good stuff going for it, and I think it's kind of back to basics approach. It's certainly, it's aping Scream, but I feel like that helps it to a degree. It makes a couple of things. It makes some decisions which I thought were just unnecessary. Some stylistic choices that were kind of just weird. I was like, why do you keep doing this thing over and over and over again? It's not really working. But yeah, if you like Scream and Scream 2, then you might like Halloween H20. They have a lot of similarities. Also, Steve Miner is the director of this film, chat. Steve Miner, he also directed several entries in the Friday the 13th franchise, and after this one, I think a year later, 99, he also directed Lake Placid, which I reviewed. Which I like Lake Placid. Not a perfect movie, but I like it. But now, my friends, let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details. My scene by scene breakdown, chat, to Halloween H20, Halloween 20 years later, Halloween Water. I have to say, not the best title. Easy to fun to say, Halloween H20, but not the best title, chat. I wish they could have come up with something a little bit better. But, chat, we start with a woman stabbing a pumpkin, chat. We are not in Haydenfield, Illinois. We are not in Haydenfield, Illinois at all in this movie. We're now in Langdon, Illinois, which is the town next to Haydenfield, Illinois. But it's different. It's different, thank God. And we see that it is like the day before Halloween, chat. All the kids are getting ready. Everyone's putting up their decorations, chat. Everyone's carving pumpkins with their kids. It's great. But then, chat, we cut to this one house, and we follow this woman, chat. And she is Marion Chambers, the nurse who assisted Donald Pleasance's Dr. Loomis during the events of Halloween and Halloween 2. That was the nurse during the Halloween 2. It was like, who is this nurse character? Oh, it's Marion. I forgot it was Marion Chambers, chat. That's her as well. But she's going up to her house, chat, right? Oh, it's been a long goddamn day at work at the mental institution. But she goes up there, but she notices broken glass all over her porch, all the way up to leading up to her walkway, and she notices her little light has been smashed. It's like, who could have done this? And so she's a little concerned. So she goes, back around the house, goes to the garage, and then Jason Voorhees appears before her. Holy shit, chat! They're doing it. They're doing the crossover, chat, between Friday the 13th and Halloween. We're finally getting Jason versus Michael. Actually, not. It's not. It's just Joseph Gordon-Levitt in a hockey mask, Chad. A young Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing Jimmy. Not the same creepy Jimmy from Halloween 2, Chad. He's far too young. Now, this creepy Jimmy, he's a teenage delinquent, all right, and he's very rude. But Mary Chambers, she knows Jimmy, knows he's had some issues. He's also with his friend who looks like a slightly muscular version of Jamie Kennedy from Scream, chat. I mean, if you put them next to like they could have been fucking brothers. He looks like Randy. He looks like a more muscular version of Randy. But she asked the two boys if they'd seen anything going on in the house and if they noticed the broken glass. And they said, yeah, we noticed broken glass while we were waiting for you. You always think that we're delinquents all the time. She's like, all right. Listen, I called the police. And they said they'd be here in like an hour. Jesus Christ, they've been here in an hour. Like, they should be here immediately. But apparently, Chad, they're taking their sweet fucking time in Lane, Illinois. And she's like, could you go inside the house and see if anything has been damaged, And he's like, oh, don't worry, I got it. Jimbo the Gymster's here with his hockey stick. And so Jimmy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he goes inside the house, Chad, with his hockey mask on and everything. He's like, oh, here we go. This is the closest, by the way, we ever got to Jason Voorhees versus Michael Myers, Chad. In this case, it was Michael Myers versus Joseph Gordon-Levitt. But he goes inside the house, checks the house. And some stuff is askew. He goes to Marion Chambers' office, and he sees that all of her papers, Chad, have been just torn apart. All the filing system, it's just been thrown in disarray. Notices one file. It's like, oh, shit, someone was looking through here. I'm going to keep looking, though. And I don't care about papers and documents and files. Not my problem. Goes to the kitchen, Chad. Goes to the kitchen. Doesn't see anything in there. Opens, but he notices, the fridge. He opens the fridge, and he just starts stealing all of Marion Chambers' beer. And he just starts stealing all the beer, chat. But then, he gets a sense that someone's behind him, right? And he hears, like, a pan fall, because, Marion Chambers has that, like, fancy, kind of like hanging, hanger with all the pans and plates and all shit. I wouldn't have that, chat, because I'd be scared in a situation like this. Like, what if one of those things falls off the hook? One of them hanging hooks, and it causes me to go, and that's what happens to Joseph Gordon-Levitt, because he freaks out, takes his hockey stick, and starts beating up the fucking hanger, Chad, and it causes all of the plates and the pans and the silverware just to fall on the ground. He's like, oh, shit, don't mess with Jimbo. And so he eventually walks out, and he says, I didn't see anything, Mrs. Chamber. I think it's fine. She's like, all right, okay, well, she's like, well, can you going to pay me? It's like, I think you probably help yourself to some of the beers in my house. And he's like, oh, and him and Randy from Scream, they walk away, and they go into their house, which is right next door to hers. She then goes inside, tries to flip the light on, Chad. Tries to flip the light on. Just it doesn't work. She's like, fuck, I gotta go downstairs and I gotta check the fuse box, Chad. And so as soon as she goes downstairs and we see her pass, Michael Myers inside the house. He's there, Chad. He's there. And I was like, oh shit, that's not good. Eventually, she goes down, tries to flip all the fuses, not working. She walks back upstairs, and she goes in her office. She notices all the papers disheveled and things, and she notices one particular file, Chad, has had all the papers removed, and it's Laurie Strode. It's the file on Laurie Strode, and the whole thing about her allegedly faking her death, Chad. She faked her death, and she changed her name to like oh god, what was her name? I think her name is now like Katie Schmeckeldorf. Good old Katie Schmeckeldorf, the Schmeckeldorfs, chat. And she's like, my God, Michael Myers has been inside my house. And it's like, I thought he died 20 years ago when he burned alive. Apparently not. She comes up from her office, and she goes over, and she notices that the back door is completely open. She's like, holy fucking shit. I gotta get Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Randy from Scream to help me. And so she goes next door, Chad. She opens the door. She's like, Joseph, help me. But oh no, fucking Joseph Gordon-Levitt has an ice skate that's been wedged into his fucking face, and he's dead, Chad. He's already dead. And then she goes over, she's like, oh no! She goes to the backyard, Chad. She's trying to run out at this point, opens the door, and Randy's there. But then these two garden, these like garden instruments have been stabbed into him. He falls forward. He's like, blah, and he's coughing up blood. Marion's like, ah! And then Michael Myers appears before her, and she's like, God damn it, I thought you died all those years ago. And she tries to take the hedge clippers, but she can't. She's got to keep moving, Chad. And I'll give Marion Carrie Tate, I believe her name was good old Katie Schmeckeldorf. But okay, we'll call her Carrie Tate. How about this? We'll compromise. Carrie Schmeckeldorf, good old Carrie Schmeckeldorf. And so Marion Chambers, the thing is, she might be a little up there now, Chad, but she's got some pep in her step. And so she runs out of the kitchen, Chad, and she gets a fire poker, and she starts beating the shit out of Michael Myers. Like, Michael's like, Jesus Christ, holy hell. And he's kind of like obscured in darkness. We don't really get a sense of like his mask and his face yet, because it's kind of like dimly lit. But she starts beating the shit out of Michael. But then the police finally arrive, Chad. So has it been an hour yet? I don't know. But she tries to get the police's attention, but they go inside her house. And she smashes the window, but right as she does that, fucking Michael grabs her and just slits her throat, just slits poor Marion Chambers' throat. Oh, no. And she falls down dead. And so at this point, Michael leaves, and the cops, they come out of the house, and they see the smash when they go over there. But right before they're about to enter Joseph Gordon-Levitt's house, fucking Michael Myers pulls out of the house and drives away, and then boom! Halloween H20. We got a nice little title sequence. We also get a really good glimpse of the mask. Not a fan of the mask. And it feels very 90s, chat. Like, Michael's, like, hair feels like it's been... It's been like he went to a hairdresser for the mask's hair. It's all done up. It's very coiffed. It's very poofy and everything. He has very definitive eyebrows. And the eye holes are, like, really big. And you can, like, see his skin. What I loved about, like, the original Michael Myers mask, or even in like the new movies like 2018, is that it's kind of like dark. You can't even see his eyes really. Here you just see his fucking eyes like this. And he never fucking blinks, just stares at you like that. But he leaves and we get the H20 credit sequence, and it's pretty much we were at the home of Laurie Strode, now good old Carrie Schmeckeldorf, Chad, who is the headmistress of this very expensive and posh and private school in Northern California. Again, Chad's like, hey, we're very Scream-esque, because, as we all know, Scream takes place in Northern California. At least the first one does. And, but we're seeing like all these newspaper clippings, and it's like, Laurie Strode dies in automobile accident, body cremated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Michael Myers, is he alive? Is he dead? I'm pretty sure he is. I mean, he burned to death, but like, did he burn? Who knows? And then we also get this dialogue that's Dr. Loomis. Basically, they're repurposing Donald Pleasance's dialogue from the first movie about, I tried to reach the boy for 7 years, but then for the last 9, I tried to keep him locked up. He has the darkest eyes, the devil's eyes. The thing is, though, it's not actually Donald Pleasance's voice. It's a different actor voicing him, which is weird to me. I was like, why didn't you just re-loop the voice, the audio that you had? I don't know. They don't have it. But then, chat, boom, we then cut to like a classroom. Cut to a classroom, and we see Laurie Strode's desk, but it says Carrie Schmeckeldorf on it, and there's like a picture of Josh Hartnett. Josh Hartnett is her son, good old John Schmeckeldorf, chat. And then we then cut, and we go to this closet where someone grabs a knife, and they stab the picture of Josh Hartnett, and then fucking Laurie, who's now Carrie Schmeckeldorf, she goes, oh! She wakes up, Chet. She's like waking up, and she's having like a panic attack. And then Josh Hartnett, they run into the room. And she's like, my pills. I need my pills. He's like, I'll get your pills, Mom. I'll get your pills. She needs her nightmare pills, Chet. So she goes over, and he gets like, there's a shit ton of pills everywhere, and he's like, I gotta get the right ones. He goes back to her, gives her some water and everything, calms her down, Chet, calms her down. Eventually, it's later that morning, and, Josh Hartnett, he's like, talking to his mom, asking her if, hey, Mom, listen, I really want to go on this trip to Yosemite. That's part of, like, the curriculum for the private school. It's like, every year They go on this trip to Yosemite, but it's always around like this time. She's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know what tomorrow is? It's Halloween. It's Halloween. I would never let you outside. He might be out there. It's like, Mom, Jesus Christ, Michael Myers is dead. He's been dead for 20 years, Halloween H20. Then we cut from that. Didn't they kind of do that in 2018 too? So you understand why this version of Laurie's paranoid, because she knows that he might find it. No. Any case. But then we cut because he's saying like, oh, Michael Myers is he's been dead for years. She's like, you really said that the body burned. She's like, I don't know, maybe the body didn't burn. It's like, what are you talking about? We saw the body burn in Halloween 2. We saw the body burn in Halloween 2. And now you're saying like, maybe it didn't burn. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We saw it burning in the shot. Anyway, we then cut from that scene. And we are now following this. Wait, I'm sorry. I lost my track. Okay, here we go. So they argue about Yosemite and Michael Myers and saying that, Mom, you saw him burn. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I didn't see him burn. It's like, okay, whatever. And then we're with a totally new characters chat. And it's with this young mother and this daughter. And they are driving the creepiest fucking car I've ever seen. It looks like the car that the creeper from Jeepers Creepers drive. Why is this young mother and her daughter in this 1940s, like all black, decrepit looking vehicle? It's very, very bizarre, Chad. It's very, very bizarre. But the daughter, she's got to pee. I got to tinkle, Mommy. And she's like, all right, Jesus Christ, fine. And so they stop the car at this bathroom nearby in the middle of this fucking national park. They go up to it. They try to go to the ladies' room. That's blocked off. And, they're like, all right, we got to go to the boys' room. She's like, it's the boys' room, Mommy. I don't want to go to the boys' room. He's like, we got to do it. Don't worry. They're going to have to get over it. But she looks behind her and she notices, chat, the same exact car that Michael was driving. It was it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt's car. And it looked like the tire got all messed up. It's like, oh, that's not good. And so they go into the bathroom, chat, and it's just disgusting. It just must smell like piss and shit everywhere. But, she puts the one daughter in the stall. She's like, Mommy, don't leave. She's like, I'm going to be in the stall right next to you. Mommy's got to pee too. And then she sits down in there. Oh, also, before they go in, she puts like a big rock next to the door so the door doesn't, shut. So they're both doing their business. Little daughter's just singing her pee-pee song. Mary had a little lamb, doing all that stuff. And eventually, though, someone moves the rock out of the way and enters the bathroom. She's like, oh, God. And who's that person? It's Michael Myers. But Michael, he doesn't kill her. He doesn't kill the woman, Chad. If anything, he notices that, you left your bag on the bathroom floor. Yoink. He takes the fucking bag, Chad, takes the keys. And you're thinking, oh, shit, he's going to kill the little girl. Because she's like, she starts screaming. And the mom's like, get away from my daughter, you fucking freak. But she opens the stall door, and the girl's like, it's spiders! Oh! And it's like, she just got some spiders in her hair, which is also very, very creepy, too. But she's like, oh! But Michael, he just took the keys, and he takes the Jeeper Creeper mobile, and he drives away. Now, I'm very shocked. I'm very surprised that Michael didn't kill the mother and the little girl. I don't know why he didn't do it. Okay? Doesn't make any sense to me. He probably should have killed him, Chad. I was like, that's odd. Why didn't you kill them? It's like perfect opportunity. And they wouldn't have been able to fight back against it. It's just like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Anyway. But then we move on from that. We're back with good old Josh Hartnett. We meet some of Josh Hartnett's friends. We meet his girlfriend, played by Michelle Williams, who has just as thin eyebrows as Michael Myers' mask. I was like, why is everyone's eyebrows so goddamn thin in this movie? We also meet Charlie, who's a sexual deviant, who's constantly talking about, we gotta fuck like animals. It's like, what the hell are you talking about, Charlie, you weirdo? And we also meet his girlfriend, Sarah, who's kind of like, goth, Wiccan kind of girl. And they're all there, and they're all having fun. Eventually, they go to this assembly where Laurie, because, now she's called Carrie Schmeckeldorf. She's presiding over this assembly, basically saying, like, hey, everyone, the annual trip up to Yosemite is going to happen very soon. So, be sure to have all your permission slips. But, Josh Hartnett is like, well, I don't have my permission slip because my mom won't let me go. So he's very upset about that, and his friends eventually leave. Laurie then goes back to her office where she encounters Mr. Brenner, Chad, who's the guidance counselor of the prep school. And Chad, she also, I think her main administrative assistant is played by her mother, Chad, Janet Leigh. And, she's trying to go up to Laurie. It's like, Laurie, before you leave, I need to tell you about all these things that need to be done. We need to file the permissions up. She's like, in a second, Janet Leigh, in a second. Because, Chad, you know what she needs to do? She needs to fuck Mr. Brenner. Because she closes the door in Janet Leigh's face and she immediately starts smooching and just kissing Mr. Brenner. Chad's like, oh, that's her new boyfriend, Chad, her new boy toy. The thing is, and I understand it, like good for Laurie, because she wasn't able to really experience a true, life as a teenager, Chat. She was always, very, about her studies and the books and stuff. And she was even chastised for it, didn't have a boyfriend. And she was also stalked by a psycho killer, for a period of time. So, she's like, good for her. She's living out that experience in her late 30s as she should. And he's like, oh yeah, do you want to go get some lunch afterwards? She goes, yeah, let's get some fucking lunch. And so after that, we're then introduced to LL Cool J, Chad, who is the security guard at the prep school, except he's really terrible at his goddamn job. He's pretty goddamn awful at his job, Chad. And he's never paying attention, never checking who's coming in and out of the place, and he's just obsessed with writing this erotic thriller, and he's on the phone with someone you don't know who it is at first, and he's like, and then she took off her panties, and he started to feel her up, and he got closer to the luscious melons underneath her blouse, and you realize that he's talking to his wife, and she's like, why they have to be melons? Why you gotta be more specific? Make them cantaloupes, make them watermelons. And she's basically a better writer. But she doesn't like how erotic this particular story is. And then, we get a jump scare because Josh Hartnett, he wants to leave the prep school grounds because he wants to go and get some stuff for this little party that he wants to throw. And LL Cool J is like, I might be like the worst fucking security guard ever, but I can't allow that. And he's like, I'll give you money. And he's like, sold. And also, but then fucking LL Cool J's wife on the phone, she even says, don't get your ass fired, okay, by letting these fucking kids bully you around. But he takes the money and shit. And Josh Hartnett, he's just about to leave. So I'm actually glad they called this out because in so many films, especially in the 90s that Josh Hartnett was in the early 2000s, Josh Hartnett has this weird hairstyle. It looks like he has constant bedhead. And I don't know why. And I love that LL Cool J, as Josh Hartnett was walking away, and be sure to comb your hair. And it's like, yes, someone said it, which I felt like that feels like a very improvised line. I like that shit. I like that. But anyway, we also get like random scenes. We also get like a shit ton of random scenes where Laurie keeps seeing Michael Myers everywhere, but he just kind of disappears, and it's like, but he's not really there. She's like hallucinating about like Michael constantly. And like when she goes to this one store, she's looking at these like jewelry or whatever, and she's like, Michael's in the window, but then he's not in the window. It was no one. She's like, it's like kind of these faux jump scares. Like, you don't need those. It's like at least have a person there. He's just not there. They repeat that constantly throughout the movie. It's like, oh, Michael's there, but he's like a phantom. It's like, okay, I don't know. But then she goes and gets lunch, and I got Laurie, apparently, chat. Lunchtime, that is wine o'clock, because she orders a nice glass of Chardonnay, and, Mr. Brenner, her new boyfriend is trying to, talk to her, engage in conversation, but, she's just not having it because she's getting really anxious because, it's gonna be Halloween, chat. It's gonna be Halloween. She's like, I don't know how I'm feeling. I'm not liking this. And I think Mr. Brenner, he's like, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom, be right back. And then she calls the waiter over like this. Just start snapping at him, and he's like, yes. And she's like, I want another glass of Chardonnay. And he looks at it, and she has like a full glass, and she's like, now. And she's like, okay, sorry. And she just fucking downs it. She just chugs that Chardonnay, and then he comes back with another glass. She's like, give it to me. And she drinks it. But, she has PTSD. I do like that in this movie, they show that she still is, has that trauma from that night. She still has that PTSD. She still lives in fear. That's one of the best aspects of the movie. The whole, like, phantom Michael Myers, like, popping up randomly is kind of weird to me. It's like, that seems unnecessary. And it's like, another thing that annoys me is that other people also see Phantom Michael Myers even when he's just not there, which I'm like, what's the point of that? I don't get it. I think it's just like we need jump scares. So it's like, unnecessary. But she finishes up, and he comes back and he's like, oh, are you going to get another one? She's like, goddamn right I am. We then cut to Josh Hartnett and Charlie, who are shoplifting, and they've stolen a whole bunch of alcohol from the liquor store. They're walking down the street, and then, they bump into Mom, and fucking Josh Hartnett's not supposed to be off the fucking compound, off the school grounds. She's like, what are you doing out here? And he's like, Mom, it's totally fine. She's like, oh, you're in trouble. And he's like, Charlie, you're not supposed to be here either. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Schmeckeldorf. And she's like, get in the car, get in the car, Charlie. And she fucking just criticizes him just in front of everyone. He did go against her wishes and everything, but she's like, what the fuck are you thinking? And he's like, Mom, you gotta get over it, okay? Michael Myers died. She's like, he may or may not have burned to death in Halloween 2. I'm still unsure about that fact, but I'm still concerned. He's like, oh God, you just gotta get over it, Mom. Michael Myers is not gonna be walking behind us anytime soon, okay? And she's like, get your ass in the car. And so he gets in the car, and she gets in the driver's seat, and she drives away. And then Michael Myers is in the car behind her in the creepy fucking Jeepers Creeper mobile and just follows her. I guess he found her, chap. And he follows her all the way to the school grounds. After that, we then basically just get Michael. He's just following Laurie around at this point, and some of the kids around. Like, he just knows, like, who everyone is. It's like, oh, okay, I'm just kind of getting a sense of everything. And he's just, getting like, okay, I'm going to go here, getting a sense of just the layout of the entire school. We then cut to Michelle Williams, who apparently works in the school cafeterias, and she's doing dishes and everything. And there's like this dumbwaiter next to her that's like setting like what she thinks is another load of dishes. And she goes to open it up, chap, but it's not dishes, and it's not Michael Myers. But what it is, though, is like a bouquet of beautiful roses and a little note. And she's like, she takes it, and it's a map, Chad. It's a map, and it's a spooky map, and it's done in orange and black. It's all so fun. And it takes her down to the bowels of the prep school, which are just very decrepit and old looking. The thing is, though, I'm like, I buy this, that this looks as decrepit and old, because I went to a private high school, and it, private Catholic, only boys school, and the basements looked like shit. And I'm like, you know what? This is accurate. This is accurate. I don't know what it is for these prep schools. They don't invest any money in the basements here. So I'm like, this is pretty goddamn accurate in my opinion. But she goes in there, chap, and she follows the path on the map, and she eventually comes to this room, and where I could only describe it as a very spooky Halloween-themed fuck dungeon. That's what it is, because it's got a table, you got two beds on either side, and then Josh Hartnett goes, boo! She's like, ah! And it's like, hey, since I can't go to Yosemite, I thought maybe we can spend some time here and enjoy the wonderful fuck dungeon. She's like, I love it! It's great! And they proceed to smooch. Eventually, Laurie, I think it's the next day. And Laurie is going to this assembly, no, she's going to a class that she's teaching, and which her son also happens to be in. But before she goes, like Janet Leigh, she's going to be going home because, it's like, it's the last day, and, there's a period of time that the staff are going to be off because most of the kids are going to this Yosemite retreat. And Janet Leigh, she's like, I didn't mean to scare you. I guess everyone gets a little spooked on Halloween. And she's like, oh yeah. I've had my share of spooks before. I was like, I'm sure you have. But I wanted to give you, and I literally say, chat, if you don't mind, I wanted to give you some maternal advice, because that's literally her mother. And she's like, sure. It's like, I know that we care for our children deeply, but sometimes it's good to let them experience things they've never experienced before. They become stronger to confront their fears. Laurie, they don't call her Laurie, but Mrs. Schmegeldorf. And she's like, oh, I appreciate that. Yeah. She's like, your boy, Josh Hartnett, he's smart beyond his years, and I know he's a good boy. He's always treated me with respect. But that's all I have to say on the matter. I know you're a good mother. And she turns to leave, and, Laurie considers this. But right before Janet Leigh gets in her car, she's like, oh, and if you don't mind, I wanted to wish you a happy Halloween. She's like, yeah, happy Halloween to you. And eventually she goes in the classroom, and she's teaching this lesson about Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And, they talk about how because of Victor Frankenstein's, issues of dealing with the problem at hand, like, he didn't want to confront his creation because he was so ashamed of it and he was so afraid of it. But because of that shame, it eventually led to the death of his partner Elizabeth. And you have the one character, you have Michelle Williams, who basically says, well, had Victor Frankenstein confronted it, head on, and not ran away from it constantly, then maybe Elizabeth and all of his loved ones would have survived. And fucking Laurie's like, oh, it's like an allegory. It's like an allegory, chat. Like, the Frankenstein's monster is what, is like her, it's like, for her, it's Michael Myers. And it's like, oh shit, that's cool. So she's just realizing, like, I got to confront this head on. I got to grow as a person. Meanwhile, Michelle Williams, she looks outside and fucking Michael's just like, hi. He's just standing out there, Chad. He's just getting a sense of, the school grounds at this point. He's getting a sense of the school grounds. And then, Michelle Williams, she gets distracted and she's like, oh shit. And she looks back and he's gone. He just disappeared again. And, the bell rings because Laurie's like thinking about like, oh shit, yeah, Michael is kind of like my Frankenstein's monster. I got to confront my trauma. And she doesn't think like I got to confront Michael Myers. I got to confront my fucking trauma head on. But everyone's leaving and she sees her son and he's all fucking mopey and shit. But she's like, Josh Hartnett, come over here. And he's like, what? And it's like, here's your permission slip. You can go to Yosemite. But Mom, it's on Halloween. She goes, I know. Listen, Michael Myers has been dead. He burned to death. Maybe he didn't, but I'm pretty sure he burned. It was pretty obvious that he got burned. I mean, if he did burn, then he would obviously have burn marks on himself, right? So, hey, you go ahead and you enjoy Yosemite Park. I think you're going to have a blast. But he doesn't want to go to Yosemite Park anymore, chat, because he wants to indulge in the sexual activities with Michelle Williams in the fuck dungeon that he made with Charlie earlier. And so he's like, I don't really want to do this. And so Michelle Williams, he shows the permission slip from Michelle Williams, and she's like, oh, so that means that you're going to go to Yosemite? He's like, nah, we're going to enjoy the fuck dungeon. She's like, cool, awesome. After that, everyone starts boarding Michael just leaves. He's like, I got to get back to my car. I didn't pay for parking. He goes back to his car, and he drives out a little way, and we see all these kids just start to board all the buses. Basically, the school just empties out. And then they leave, and then Michael's like, all right, that's my cue. And then he goes back to the school, chat. But now we come to the section where Michael Myers just fucks with LL Cool J. where LL Cool J, who is not doing his job, he's just still talking to his wife on the phone, trying to improve his screenplay. He doesn't notice Michael Myers pull up and he shines the lights and everything. LL Cool J gets distracted and he hangs up on his wife. And he opens the gate and he goes to check the creepy fucking car. And Michael Myers is like, well, I'm gonna waltz right in. He just waltzes right in again. And LL Cool J's like, what is this? And he goes back to his security room and he tries to make a call, chat. But Michael Myers, he did one of the typical things he does. He cut all the fucking phone lines. How did he do that so quickly, chat? Michael Myers must be like an engineer or something. Like, I don't know. It's pretty goddamn impressive. But LL Cool J's like, and then constantly, like, is Michael Myers about to kill LL Cool J? Because as soon as, like, LL Cool J crosses from, like, across the room, Michael kind of, like, waddles over a little bit and just stares at him from the outside window. And then when LL Cool J walks back, Michael just waddles to the other window and just stares at him. But he lets LL Cool J live for now. Eventually, chat, we move on from that, and this is crazy. I don't understand this. We cut to the girls' room, which is Michelle Williams' character of Molly and Sarah, the goth Wiccan girl, and they're watching Scream 2. Like with Sarah Michelle, and it's right at the scene where Sarah Michelle Gellar is fighting Ghostface, right? And I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny little reference. But I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Scream and Scream 2 reference Halloween specifically, and they play Halloween in Scream, but now in Halloween H20, they're playing Scream 2. So I'm like, oh, so the Scream movies are like the movies in the Halloween universe. But I'm like, but in the Scream universe, Halloween is their movies. And I'm like, oh, my head exploded because I couldn't rectify that. It doesn't make any sense. It just folds in on itself over and over and over and over again. But apparently, chat, in Halloween, the Scream movies are the movies of that universe. Sure, let's go. I mean, it's a fun little cameo, and it's basically Kevin Williamson going, put my shit in the movie. And they went, okay, sure. And so Sarah and Michelle Williams, they're the guys come in there and they pick them up and they take them to the fuck dungeon. And right before they're about to, they're getting a little intimate, they're smooching, they're drinking all the liquor that they stole, but they're trying to open these wine bottles, and they don't have any corkscrews. So Charlie and Sarah, they go up to the kitchen area to try to find some corkscrews. Charlie, he can't find one, and so he proceeds to hey, watch, I'm going to take the dumbwaiter. And she's like, don't do that, it's dangerous. He's like, I don't care. So he uses the dumbwaiter as like a little elevator, chat, and he goes all the way up to the next floor, where he does indeed find a corkscrew, but because Charlie's an idiot and a sexual deviant, he drops the corkscrew into the drain, where it's one of those disposables, one of those garbage disposables. He's like, oh, and he turns it on, and it's like, oh, now you destroyed the corkscrew, but he turns it off, and he puts his hand in there. Meanwhile, Michael's like, hey, what you doing? He's like, oh, and Michael just proceeds to kill him. Doesn't kill him in the way you think he's gonna kill him, chat. Like, oh, I'm gonna put your hand down, or I'm gonna turn it on when you're in the garbage disposal. No, he just slits his throat. He just slits his throat, chat. It's like, okay. Eventually, Sarah, she starts looking for Michael, and she goes to the dumbwaiter, because the dumbwaiter suddenly activates, and it goes all the way down. It goes all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. And then she opens it up, and she sees her boyfriend. Oh, Charlie, the sexual deviant, has been slit across the throat, and he's dead. And then Michael's like, hi, do you like my work? She's like, no. And she's like, well, I got to get away from this guy. And so she crawls. He stabs her, though. He stabs her a couple times in the thick thigh area, chat. But Sarah, she gets into the dumbwaiter, and she activates it, and it goes up. And Michael's like, I won't have any of that. And as soon as she's, exiting the dumbwaiter at the second floor, Michael cuts the rope, which then causes the dumbwaiter, which has been weighed down with the body of Charlie, to crush and cut into her leg, nearly severing her leg at the knee. And so she's bleeding out and dragging this just pulpy mess of a leg. She's like, oh! It's probably the best kill in the movie. And she's like, oh, God, Jesus. Michael then goes, he then goes up the stairs and then proceeds to stab her to death with the kitchen knife. Eventually, chat, we then cut to, Laurie. We cut to Laurie and Mr. Brenner, because they're going to spend a nice evening alone, chat. And, they're kissing, they're making out on the couch and everything. And Laurie's like, listen, Brenner, I want to be, truthful with you. I want to open up to you, because he knows, she's been keeping secrets from him for quite some time. And he's like, yeah, you could be honest with me, Laurie. What's up? What is it? And she, Schmeckeldorf. That's her real name. No, that's her fake name. And she's like, yeah, listen, the reason why I'm all scared of Halloween is because my brother, Michael Myers, tried to kill me, and he killed most of my friends, and also Creepy Jimmy, and he may or may not have burned to death. I'm not really sure. The details are kind of fuzzy to me. And I faked my death, and I've been living under the name Kira Schmeckeldorf for years. And he's like, hey, that's cool. Why don't you take your top off? And she's like, I'm serious. He goes, oh, you're Laurie Strode? And she's like, yeah. He's like, oh my God, everyone thought you were dead. And she goes, yeah. I just had to learn to just get over it. That's my son keeps telling me. That's what my mom, Janet Leigh, keeps telling me. And I don't know. It's just I don't understand why Michael keeps coming after me, as I know he's my brother, but I don't really know the connection. And then this is weird, because she looks up and she notices the birthday. I guess it was Josh Hartnett's birthday, like a couple months ago, and she's still keeping the card. And it's his 17th birthday, which is bull fucking shit. Josh Hartnett looks like he's 25 in the movie, but she sees the 17, and I guess she realizes the reason why Michael Myers keeps coming back is because of the year 7, or like the number 17. I don't know. It's just, it's very odd because she like focuses on the 17th, and it's like, well, I was 17 when he attacked me, and so is that the connect? I don't know. If anyone knows, please let me know. But she's like, oh my God, he hates the number 17. He's clearly here to kill me and maybe my son for whatever reason. And so she's like, he's coming back. Guess she just knows. She's like, he's definitely alive. And she runs out the door where it's LL Cool J. And she almost shoots LL Cool J because she gets a gun. And Brenner's like, what are you doing? And LL Cool J's like, oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Schmeckeldorf. But there was a creepy car down the gate, and I don't know who's in it, but I think someone might be walking around the grounds right now in the compound. She's like, oh, shit. And she just fucking knows that her son really didn't go on that trip. So she goes to his dorm room where all of his shit still is, all of his suitcase. She's like, God damn it, where the hell is he? We then cut back to the fuck dungeon, where Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams they have done the fucking, but now they're hungry and they want wine. And they're like, where the hell is Charlie and Sarah? And so they go up and they try to find them, and they see this massive blood trail leading from the dumbwaiter all the way to like throughout the kitchens and stuff. And they follow the blood trail, and they goes to the pantry where it's just pooling. And they hear this beep, they hear this dripping. They just hear this constant drip, 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 drip. They then open the pantry, turn the light, and they see just the gutted body. And it's like, jeez, what the fuck did Sarah do to Michael? But we see that she's been gutted. Her leg, what's left of her one leg, is like hanging on by a few strands of meat. Her eyes have been gouged out. It's like, Michael Christ, what'd you have against this woman? I don't know, maybe because she was like, she's like the goth and Wiccan. He's like, hey, I'm done with all that cult shit. All that cult of Thorn. She might be one of the members. I'm making sure I'm taking her out quick. That's the only thing I can think of, chap. Anyway, they see this. And Michael's like, do you love my work? And they're like, oh! And they run away from Michael Myers' shit. They get the hell out of there as fast as they can. But he's like, where you going? Josh, I'm your uncle. And he's like, oh. They keep running. Eventually, Michael does catch up to him, and he stabs his nephew in the upper thigh, Chad, that inner upper thigh area. It's like, whoo, that was a close one. Get stabbed. Michelle Williams like, don't hurt my boyfriend. And she hits Michael with a big fucking rock. He topples over. It's like, Jesus. And they proceed to run. They get to this doorway, which has this thick metal gate on it. They run in there, and she has to open it up. They run in there, but she drops the keys, and they're just out of her reach. And she's trying to get them on the underneath the gate. Michael walks up, and he sees the keys. It's the keys again. He's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And he tries to get him. Like, he forces the knife to the grate. He's like trying to slash him. And he's like, stop leaving your keys with me. I don't want them. And so he takes the keys and he's trying to open the thing. It's like, oh, it's not that one. Oh, it's not this one again. He's trying his best. But then right as soon as he gets the right key, Laurie and Mr. Brenner, they arrive, and from the door that they're right next to, they open it, and then they shut the door. They slam it in Michael's face, and we get that, it's the money shot. It's the one that was on all the posters and all the marketing, all the teasers and all the trailers shot of Laurie Strode and Michael just staring at each other. And she's like, hey, brother. And, he's like, hey, sister. And then they take off running. They take off running as he starts smashing through the door. He's like, you got the keys. But they go, and Laurie notices that Josh has been stabbed in the thick upper thigh region. And so she tells Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams to hide in this closet right here. I got to finish it. I got to confront my Frankenstein's monster, if you will. Remember that, Michelle Williams? She's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, it's fine. Allegory. And so she then is going to go to confront Michael. But Brenner, he's like, Laurie, wait, you can't do this alone. I want to help you. She's like, I just want to make sure like nothing bad happens to you. You've been like the best thing in my life. Other than my son, you've been like the best thing in my life ever. So I just don't want you to get hurt. And he's like, don't worry. I'm a very competent character. And They then turn around and they literally see Michael Myers like walking towards them. Like, it's Michael. It's obviously Michael, Chad. It's like but it's like, but is it Michael? And then Mr. Brenner grabs Laurie's guns like, I'll save you, and boom, 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 and plugs him. Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, 6 times. I shot him 6 times. Dr. Loomis would approve. And they then approach the body, which was very obviously Michael Myers, but has since transformed into LL Cool J. And they're like, oh, God, I killed the only black man in the horror movie. It's like, oh, there you go, chat. Yeah, LL Cool J, he bites the dust. Doesn't even kill by Michael. He just got shot to death. And Mr. Brenner, he's beside himself. And Michael's like, that was my kill. I was going to kill the black guy. And then Michael then takes his kitchen knife and then rams it up. This is the same kill he did Halloween 2, chat. Consistency. How he killed the Nurse Jill. He rams the knife up Mr. Brenner's butt and just guts him from asshole to the back of his neck. And Laurie's like, no! And she's very sad. And she runs back to the closet and opens it, and the kids are gone. She's like, fucking goddamn it. And then Michael, he then goes to what you think is the closet and smashes through it, but there's nothing there. Laurie sneaks up behind him with a fire extinguisher and just bonks him. Just bonks him on the head. And then she proceeds to run away. Jump scare of the kids. She meets up with them. They then go into they can go into her car, which is having engine issues, of course. Michael recovers from his concussion and chases after them. It's like, keys, and they eventually, right before Michael, he smashes through the window, tries to grab Laurie and everything, but they drive off. And it's a big compound, chat. Michael's like, fuck, it's gonna take me forever to walk down there. They go to the entrance of the school. And Laurie's like, listen, LL Cool J's dead. Mr. Brenner, he got killed too. Stabbed in the butt stab. Seen it. You kids gotta go. I gotta confront my Victor Frankenstein. It's like an allegory. It's an allegory. So you kids get out of here. I'm gonna go confront Michael Myers, my brother, your uncle. And Josh Hart's like, okay, that sounds good. And so she then goes to LL Cool J's little security hut. He wasn't using it. And she grabs the axe there. And she's like, all right, here we fucking go. And she goes back into the school compound, starts screaming, Michael, I'm here! I'm here! Face me! And then she goes inside of the kind of lunchroom area, this big auditorium lunch area. And she's like walking around down the halls and shit. In the cinematography, chat, it is straight up Scream. There's a lot of Scream and Scream 2 in this movie. Just how everything's shot, even the music. They do a modified score of the Halloween theme. It's an orchestral score. And sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. It's not bad. It's different. I appreciate it. But you could tell that they were heavily influenced by Scream in terms of the music. She's walking down the hallway, and Michael is literally hanging above her by one arm. It's like, Jesus Christ, Michael, you've been working out in that last 20 years and shit. Those horrific burns that didn't stop you. And he drops down on her. She's like, ah! And they start dueling, him with his favored, kitchen knife, and her with the axe, right? But she has to retreat. She has to do a strategic retreat. And they eventually retreat into this kind of lunchroom area where Laurie hides under one of the tables. Which, by the way, the tables aren't exactly covered really with like a tablecloth. It's very short. I guess there's a tablecloth on it, but it's super short. So I can literally see you. I don't even need to go oh, look under. But Michael has disappeared. It's oh, where did Michael go? He's on top of the table. And he starts stabbing the table. He starts stabbing the table, Chad, and she keeps dodging and everything. She then kicks a chair, which distracts him. He's like, oh, I'm going to get you now. But then she runs up the stairs. She runs up the stairs and hides. And Michael, he goes up there and he's looking for her and everything like that. And the Lord goes, bah, now it's my turn. And she, boom, gets him with the axe. He's like, oh. And then she takes his knife from him because it hits him in the arm. And she starts stabs him right here. And he's like, oh, he stuns and he falls backwards and does a fucking flip. Boom, hits the lunch tables down below, Chad. Falls basically two stories. She then goes back down there and fucking gets the kitchen knife, rips it out of him. It's like, I'm gonna finish this. And he's about to stab him again to finish him off. And then LL Cool J appears. And he's like, stop, he's dead. She's like, no, LL Cool J, no, I'm glad you're not dead, but no. And yeah, LL Cool J survives after being shot. And he's fine. We then cut to a scene of LL Cool J calling his wife, and he's like, oh yeah, baby, I just have so much inspiration. I mean, oh my God, all this trauma, all this death, oh, the creative juice is just flowing. Oh yeah, the bullet just grazed me, I'm fine. There was like a giant pool of blood near him, but it just grazed him, chat. It just grazed him. Poor Mr. Brenner got killed via his asshole the way up to his fucking neck. Whatever. But he's fine. LL Cool J's okay. And, you know, they're loading up Michael Myers' body, putting it into the back of the ambulance. Laurie, and, the kids are there. Josh Hartnett's fine. Michelle Williams is fine. Laurie freaks the fuck out. And she grabs the axe. And, like, no one notices her grabbing this axe. She then grabs a police officer's handgun. It's like, stay back! Stay back, all of you! He's mine! Load him in there! And so they're like, oh shit, this bitch is crazy. They load Michael Myers into the back of the ambulance, chat. And she's like, no one follow me! I mean, we will follow you, but okay. And she gets in and she drives off. Because she knows that, oh, Michael Myers, he's still alive, right? And so she proceeds to drive. Michael Myers is in this body bag, and suddenly the body bag starts moving. He busts out of the body bag and is like, ah! And right before he's about to seemingly grab Laurie, she slams on the brakes and he fucking goes through the windshield. She yeets him through the windshield. He's like, ah! And he's like, holy shit. He's like, oh, God. Laurie's kind of become Dr. Loomis in this scene, just losing her fucking mind. He eventually gets up and is like, huh? And she's like, bah! She puts pedal to the goddamn metal, chat. She slams on the pedal, boom, fucking hits him with the hood of her car, which then careens over this fucking ledge, chat, and they start rolling down this hill. Laurie is thrown from the car. She's yeeted out of the car, just bloodied and broken. Her arm's all fucking, derpy now. Michael then hits a fucking tree, and then he's like, oh, God, and then boom. The van, he tries to turn around and get away, but the van then slams into the tree, thus pinning him there. Laurie comes to, grabs the axe, and walks down there, right? And then she sees Michael just kind of hanging there. Also, there's a little fire that started, just kind of hanging like this. And she's like, Michael? He's like, fuck, yeah, what? Oh. And she's like, and Michael just kind of stares at her, and he's like, you dropped these keys! And she's like, ah! And she cuts his head off, Chad. His head tumbles, Chad. And then boom, credits. Halloween H20, Halloween 20 years later, Halloween water. Actually, in the scene, what he does is he seemingly is like reaching out for her, and she reaches out for him. She touches his hand, but then she's like, fuck you, and then cuts his head off. But that's how it happens. They retcon this ending. It's an infamous ending. So it's weird. We learn in Resurrection that this was not actually Michael Myers. So when the ambulance people came in and they were loading up Michael, one of the guys realized he was alive, and Michael crushed his larynx, crushed his throat. And Michael then proceeded to dress up this man as himself, and then he left, and they loaded this guy up. And they probably would have checked the body anyway. But yeah, this was an innocent man. This was one of the ambulance drivers. So Laurie killed this guy, and Michael got away. And that sets up the events of Resurrection, chat. And it's like, God damn it. Apparently, they actually shot that stuff. The whole thing with the ambulance driver and things. Even Jamie Lee Curtis stated, like, the only reason why I agreed to do this movie is so there would be no sequel bait at the end. Well, there was sequel bait. But they shot all that stuff, which we then later saw 4 years later in Halloween Resurrection. But in any case, and with Busta, of course, Busta Rhymes, trick or treat motherfucker. And we'll get to that one day, Chad. But today is not that day, but that was my scene by scene breakdown, chat, to Halloween H20. Listen, this is the fun movie. I feel like it's definitely one of the better Halloween sequels out there. Certainly from the Halloween 2 on. I feel like this is probably the strongest movie in the franchise, other than like Halloween, Season of the Witch. It's leaner. It drops all the supernatural stuff. It does some things that are just kind of frustrating to me. Like all those shots of like the Phantom Michael Myers are kind of weird. Even like other characters start seeing Phantom Michael Myers and it turns out to be LL Cool J. It's like, I don't think that's necessary. I don't know why you keep doing that. That's a little odd. The whole like, did he burn? Maybe he didn't burn. I'm like, what are we doing here? And I know they're trying to figure out a way to get around that the ending of Halloween 2 where he burned. But and the thing is, I would have been totally fine if they said, no, he did burn. And in the movie, he had horrific burns on his hands and in the eyes. Like they could have you had $17 million here. Could you have given him some like burned up hands and like around the mask where you see his skin like that has burn marks? It's like, just do that. I thought that would have been fine, but they just don't. So it's kind of weird to me. They don't do that. But it's still. Jamie Lee Curtis gives a very good performance. No one's giving a bad performance in this. Everyone's pretty fun. I like Josh Hart and Michelle Williams is good. So yeah, no, I would give this is a nice solid matinee for me, Chad. It's a matinee. And one that I recommend checking out. Yes. What about you guys? Hope you like the review. Sorry that I lost my place at one point. I was distracted. Ace Rock, the Body Rock, don't stop. Good to have you here, Ace Rock. I have arrived, Ace Rock. Welcome back to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, if Myers and Advanced Sharks can't kill LL Cool J, apparently not. Michael Myers, I love Laurie. But die. Yes. Yeah, as soon as she cuts his head off, the credits immediately start rolling. Yep. Yeah. Little did we know, H20 is only part 1, I suppose so. I just plain ignore Resurrection. I'm going to be watching Resurrection again soon, but Resurrection is bad. I do not like that movie. Michael has some 200. Michael's very smart in this movie. Thank you, Cristando. Thank you. Thank you, Produce Graphics. Oh, nice. All right, I got to get going. Peace out, everyone. You the man, as always. The chat. It was a pleasure, you all. The shit. Thank you, baby GGG. Have a great evening. Does Vin come at the end of the muscle card? Still a bust. I would love that. That's what we need. John, that fun review. Will the saga of the Myers house keys finally end this weekend? Tune in and find out. Maybe. Oh, yeah. His figures you're back also. He's part lizard. The CGI mask at one point in the film. I do not like the mask in this movie. It's very weird. It's very 90s. Like the hair is all done up. Like it's coiffed. It looks like he went to a salon. He has these trimmed eyebrows in the mask. It's very odd. The mask doesn't look weathered at all. Mr. Rob, well, I wonder what would have happened if they never made sequels, just had Halloween 1, H2. That's probably what it should have been, honestly. That's not too bad. It's not a bad little duology, in my opinion. Yeah, had they just done that, how they done Halloween 1 and H2O, that would have been interesting. El Coach survives Michael, survives Laurie, survives Sharks, survives Minehunters. Bitch feels like Wolverine. Howling Water was quite refreshing from the Thorn Cult series. Michael's true enemy are those damn keys. The rivalry you've all been waiting for. Zodi rental. I can see that. Luke the Boss, I hate that they did that because no one but Michael could still be able to move after he goes through a car window and then being impelled the car. Like, they didn't even take. No, yeah, I know. It must be adorable. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's free on YouTube? The movie's free on YouTube? Oh, I paid for this. Shit. Because I couldn't find it anywhere. I didn't know it was free. Is it free on YouTube with ads or is it just straight up free? I'm going to look this up. I'm kicking myself right now, chat. Oh, God. Halloween H2O. Oh. Got a kill count. Can you send me the link to that? I'd appreciate it. If you could send me that link, that'd be great. Because I'm gonna use that for later. For when I do my edited reactions. Because I also did audio video commentary for this movie, chat, which you'll probably see in the very near future. Couldn't stand Buster Rhymes. Trick or treat, motherfucker. Yeah, indeed. Sarah Spa, green salutations. Hope you're living long and prospering. Welcome, welcome, welcome. No, and guys, if you guys were subscribing or donating during that review, thank you so much. Let's see here. Producer Evans, ain't nobody got no time to be walking, chasing. This is why Michael Myers needs to start teleworking like Jason. Power walking? Yeah. Busta Rhymes in the next one will be so bad's good. I'm excited. Edgy, thank you so much, Edgy, for the biddies, for the 21 biddies. H2O was hyped up so much when they first. Now I'm sure, of course. It's like, oh, we're bringing back Jamie Lee Curtis. They're getting rid of the Thorn trilogy. We're ignoring those movies. It's like, nice. Zeus, thank you for the 3 biddies. Oh, it was on AMC today. Free of ads. Gotcha. Yeah. He kicked Michael out the window like Bruce Lee. Come to think of it, I think this is the one have been the one to kick off my fear of Michael Myers and give me nightmares. Sure, I can see that. Chris, so you won't likely do Halloween Resurrection? Oh, no, I'm going to do Halloween Resurrection. Yep, I'm doing it. I'm doing the I guess it's the H2O timeline. Yeah. Which, Halloween 1970, I've done a review for Halloween 1978. Recently just did Halloween 2. Obviously H2O, and now I'm going to be doing Resurrection very soon. Very soon. Whew. Yes. Yeah. Zodi, not many people know Halloween H2O is 20 years later, not the water thing. That's good. It's not a great title. Oh, my Lord. Halloween water. But now, my friends, Batboy, Ryan Merriman of Disney Channel fame, plays a simp who just watches everything. I hate that fucking storyline. That plot line is so annoying to me. What's the point of it? I know that's when they said, like, oh, no, it's like, the thing. Oh, God. I haven't seen the movie. You reminded me of that because they want to bring in, like, reality TV. It's like a reality TV show. I'm like, get this fucking bullshit out of Halloween. Get this out of my horror film series. Oof. That movie's awful. Oh, God. Lucky the Irish Kid. Wilson the franchise ends, Curse, or Resurrection? Well, I haven't seen Ends yet. Are the reviews out for Ends? Have you seen Ends, Bishop Sycamore? Man. I mean, right now, you Curse or Resurrection, you can make an argument for either. For Curse or Resurrection. This Halloween, you might get wet. Maybe. But hey, chat. Ooh, Aggie, thank you so much for the 24 biddies. Halloween water tastes like pumpkin. Yes, the pumpkin spice. That's where it comes from. Oh, it's perfect. I love it. By the way, chat, please do check out Edgy Berserker's channel. Give her some support. I'd appreciate it. Kills. I think Kills is better. No, listen. Kills is disappointing, but Kills is better than Halloween Resurrection and better than what is it? Curse of Michael Myers 6 for me. I just checked. It's not free anymore. I just watched it last week. No, you're no problem, Trigger B. No problem. No issue. Mr. Ron, I still to this day feel like Resurrection was a Halloween script with no plot and a random plot. A random horror film, no antagonist put together. Yeah, I can see that. Because it's radically different. It's like, hey, what do kids like? Well, they like Halloween. It's like, yeah, Halloween's great. But what if we made Halloween like a reality show? And then we have Busta Rhymes, and he says, trick or treat, motherfucker. And like, well, what about the story of Laurie Strode? And they're like, kill her in the first 10 minutes or something. It just felt like someone was just doing a shit ton of coke. And went, yeah, get rid of her. But no, we need Busta Rhymes. We need reality TV. That's what we need right now. We need a whole plot where people watch the movie on their computers. Ugh. I hate it. Zeus Mojo, thank you for the 100 biddies. Very nice. Very nice. I like Paul Rudd. I like Paul Rudd in Curse of Michael Myers, and I like that they bring back Tommy Doyle. I think that's cool. But yeah, I to be honest, I have not seen Curse of Michael Myers in a very, very long time. One day, I think next year, chat, next October, I'll do the Thorn trilogy. I'll do Halloween 4, 5, and then 6. But that year is not this year. Contrary to H2O. Yeah. I think Jamie probably wanted to die. Oh, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, tell her. She's like, get me out of this franchise. Oof, and then she came back in 2018, which was a much better movie. The reveal with the baby broke me, like, really, this is what we are doing? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was rough. Anyway. Chat. Give me a moment, because we're going to be switching over and playing some video games. We're going to play some Man of Medan, which should be really fun. Oh, sorry. I was doing some things in the meantime. I'm going to go get myself another beverage. And Jamie Lloyd was a waste of, but she was, yeah. They set up some interesting things with her at the end of Halloween 4 because they were setting her up to be like the successor to Michael Myers. Now she has the whatever thing it is that compels Michael to kill, and then they completely do away with that in 5. And I was like, wait, are you gonna do that? They're like, no. Now she's just mute for some reason. It's like, all right. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, Sean Ashmore. We're gonna play some Man of Medan, chat.